Welcome to Dreamline Stories, where every twist will grip your heart, every secret will pull you closer, and every story is yours to experience. Subscribe, stay with us, and dive into worlds you've only dreamed of. Chapter 1: The Lie on My Skin. The crown is heavier than it looks. Not because of gold. Because of what it represents. Because it is not mine. It rests against my temples like a silent accusation, cold metal pressing into warm skin, reminding me with every heartbeat that I am wearing a lie so large it could burn a kingdom down if it slips even 1 inch out of place. I stare at my reflection in the tall mirror. A crown prince stares back. Sharp jawline. Regal posture. Hair pulled into the traditional royal tie. Dark military coat fitted perfectly across broad shoulders. The royal insignia stitched over the heart, a symbol of authority, dominance, alpha bloodline. The face looks calm. Controlled. Untouchable. But behind the eyes, there is me. An omega hiding inside a mask made of silk, metal, and political desperation. My fingers tremble slightly as I lift my hand. I curl it into a fist, then force it open again, mimicking the steady composure I've watched alphas use my entire life. Slow. Deliberate. Commanding. My heart refuses to cooperate. It slams so loudly against my ribs that I swear the guards outside the chamber must hear it. Each thud echoes panic into my veins. My palms are damp. My throat feels dry, like I swallowed dust instead of air. I inhale. The air smells wrong. Not my soft, warm omega scent. Not the faint trace of lavender soap I've used since childhood. Instead, the room reeks of artificial alpha suppressants, sharp cedar, bitter musk, chemical heat. The scent clings to my skin, soaked into my hair, pressed into my clothes. It burns my nose. It burns my instincts. My body keeps whispering the same warning over and over. Hide. Run. Submit. This is not safe. I close my eyes. If I listen to that voice, thousands will die. So I swallow the fear instead. The attendants circle me like surgeons preparing for a dangerous operation. Adjusting the coat. Straightening the collar. Polishing the crown. One tightens the ceremonial belt just a little more. Too tight. My breath catches. For a second, panic spikes, that suffocating omega fear of being restrained, controlled, trapped beneath alpha pressure. I force myself to breathe slowly. In. Out. In. Out. Your Highness looks perfect, one of them says softly. The words feel unreal. Your Highness. They are not speaking to me. They are speaking to the illusion. I open my eyes again and meet my reflection. Perfect. A perfect lie. Just 3 hours ago, I was nobody. An omega clerk in the inner archives. Quiet. Invisible. Useful only because I memorized documents faster than anyone else. I lived in the safe corners of the palace, away from alphas, away from danger, away from attention. And then the alarms rang. The real crown prince collapsed during a diplomatic rehearsal, poisoned, unconscious, barely breathing. The healer said he might survive, but not in time. The treaty signing cannot be delayed. 2 rival packs are balanced on the edge of war like a blade poised above a trembling hand. 1 wrong signal. 1 weakness. 1 delay, and blood will flood the borders. The enemy is watching. They would smell vulnerability the way sharks smell blood. So the council made a decision. A desperate one. A monstrous one. They scanned the palace for someone with similar height, build, bone structure. Someone who could pass in dim lighting, at a distance, behind formal masks and rigid protocol. Someone disposable. They found me. You will wear his face, the commander said, not unkindly but without hesitation. Just for 1 day. 1 day pretending to be the most powerful alpha heir in the region. 1 day standing among killers, politicians, generals. One day risking exposure that could end my life instantly. I wanted to say no. My mouth opened. Nothing came out. Because refusal was never an option. A soft knock pulls me back to the present. The escort has arrived, Your Highness. My stomach twists. This is it. The door opens. And the world changes. The corridor outside the chamber feels colder than before. Longer. Wider. The ceilings stretch high like cathedral arches, making me feel small despite the royal coat draped over my frame. 2 rows of guards stand at attention. Alphas. Every one of them. Their combined scent presses against my senses like invisible weight. My omega instincts recoil, curling inward like a wounded animal. I keep my chin lifted. A prince does not flinch. My footsteps echo sharply against the polished stone floor. Each step feels unnatural, heavy boots, stiff posture, controlled stride. I have practiced walking like this for hours, but my muscles still want to move lightly, quietly, submissively. I force my shoulders back. Power posture. Confidence posture. Lie posture. At the end of the corridor waits the delegation escort. And at the center of them. Him. General Kale. I recognize him instantly. Every Omega in the region knows his name. The Iron Alpha. The battlefield monster. The man who never lost a campaign. The commander who turned entire rebellions into footnotes in history. He stands tall, black uniform perfectly fitted, silver insignia glinting against dark fabric. His presence alone shifts the air. Dominance radiates from him like heat from a flame. My instincts scream. Danger. Apex Alpha. Run. My heart stutters. His gaze lifts. Our eyes meet. The world narrows to that moment. Sharp gray eyes. Calculating. Calm. Controlled. His stare sweeps across my face with surgical precision, not rude, not lingering, but thorough. Evaluating. Assessing. My lungs freeze. For one terrifying heartbeat, I am certain he can see through the illusion. Smell past the suppressants. Sense the Omega panic trapped beneath royal perfume and political lies. My fingers curl subtly against the side of my coat. Don't tremble. Don't submit. Don't look away. I hold his gaze. My chest burns from holding the breath too long. Then he bows his head slightly. Your Highness, he says, voice deep and steady. I am General Kale. I will be your escort and protection during your stay. Relief crashes through me so hard my knees nearly weaken. He didn't sense it. He didn't know. The lie survives another second. I incline my head the way royalty does, not too much, not too little. Thank you, General. My voice comes out lower than usual. Controlled. Neutral. Not Omega soft. Good. We begin walking side by side through the palace halls. The neighboring Pax Palace feels different from ours. Darker stone. Sharper architecture. Less decorative luxury and more military efficiency. Every corner smells faintly of steel, oil, and disciplined alpha authority. Kale walks half a step behind me, maintaining respectful distance while staying close enough to shield. His presence is overwhelming. Not aggressive. Not threatening. Just powerful. Like standing near a storm that hasn't decided whether it will rain or destroy. I keep my eyes forward. My body, however, is hyper-aware of everything. The sound of his boots. The controlled rhythm of his breathing. The faint warmth radiating from his body when we walk close through narrow corridors. The subtle shifts of his posture whenever guards pass. Once, his hand brushes my elbow accidentally. The contact is brief. But my nervous system explodes. Heat surges through my veins like lightning. My skin tingles. My breath stutters. My Omega instincts flare in confused alarm and unwanted attraction. I pull my arm back too fast. Too obvious. Too reactive. I curse myself internally. Kale glances at me. Not suspicious. Just curious. Apologies, he says calmly. Did I startle you? I force a composed expression. Not at all. Lie. My pulse refuses to slow. I hate my body sometimes. It reacts before my mind can catch up. Alpha proximity has always done this to me: heightened awareness, sensitivity, vulnerability. This mission will be torture. We enter the grand reception hall. Sunlight pours through towering windows, illuminating banners, marble pillars, and long negotiation tables already prepared for the coming diplomatic storm. I am guided to the central seating area reserved for the crown prince. The seat feels like a throne. Too exposed. Too visible. Every movement feels watched. Kale positions himself slightly behind and to my right. Protective angle. Strategic placement. He is always thinking. Always calculating. I admire that. And the realization scares me. As palace staff bustle around preparing refreshments and documents, Kale leans slightly closer. If you require anything, Your Highness, inform me directly. His voice is low. Professional. Calm. But there is something else beneath it. Concern? Respect? It shouldn't matter. Yet my chest tightens unexpectedly. I reply. Our eyes meet briefly. Something unspoken flickers there. Then he straightens and resumes his neutral stance. Minutes pass. I try to breathe normally. My suppressants keep burning my senses. My stomach churns with nerves. My shoulders ache from forced posture. This is only the beginning. Hours of meetings. Endless observation. Dangerous proximity. One slip. One instinctive omega reaction. One wrong scent leak. Everything collapses. I press my fingers gently against the fabric over my heart. Steady. Stay alive. Save the peace. Survive the lie. But even as I prepare for political warfare, a traitorous thought slips into my mind. What if he discovers me? Not the council. Not the enemy packs. Him. What would happen if those sharp gray eyes realized the crown prince standing beside him was not an alpha at all, but an omega pretending to wear power like borrowed skin? Would he expose me? Protect me? Despise me? Kill me? My chest tightens. I shake the thought away. There is no room for emotional curiosity here. Only survival. Only deception. Only duty. Still, I feel his presence behind me like a steady anchor. And for the first time since this nightmare began, I don't feel entirely alone. Chapter 2: The Choice That Wasn't a Choice. I did not choose this life. This life chose me the way storms choose coastlines, without permission, without mercy, without apology. As I sit in the towering reception hall pretending to be royalty, my mind drifts backward to the moment everything shattered. 3 hours earlier. The archive chamber smelled of dust and ink. My safe world. Rows of ancient treaty scrolls. Quiet lamps. Soft silence where an omega could breathe without fear of being crushed under alpha dominance. I was copying a trade agreement when the alarm screamed. Not bells. Not horns. Emergency sirens, sharp, violent, slicing through the air like knives. My pen slipped. Ink splattered across parchment like blood. Footsteps thundered through the halls. Guards shouting. Orders flying. The palace shaking with panic. My heart started racing before my mind understood why. Danger. Instinctively, I gathered my papers and backed toward the shelves, making myself smaller, the way omegas survive chaos. Then the doors burst open. 3 high-ranking officers entered with the palace commander. Their eyes locked onto me instantly. Not the shelves. Not the exits. Me. You, the commander said. The word hit like a sentence. I swallowed. My throat felt dry. Why, yes. Come with us. No explanation. No comfort. No choice. They walked fast. Too fast for my legs to keep up easily. My smaller strides struggled to match their long alpha steps. My pulse roared in my ears. Fear crawled up my spine like ice. We passed healers running in the opposite direction. Blood-stained gloves. Tense faces. Whispered words I wasn't meant to hear. Poison. Prince. Critical. My stomach dropped. The Crown Prince. Something had happened to the Crown Prince. They stopped outside a sealed medical chamber guarded by armed sentries. The air smelled sharp with antiseptic and panic. Inside, through the glass barrier, I saw him. The real Crown Prince. Unconscious. Pale. Tubes connected to his arms. His chest rising shallowly. He looked fragile. Human. Not the untouchable alpha icon painted in portraits. Just a young man lying between life and death. The commander turned toward me. Stand beside the glass. I obeyed shakily. He studied us side by side. The prince and me. Same height. Similar build. Similar facial structure. My breath caught as realization dawned slowly, dread blooming in my stomach like poison. No. No, no, no. His eyes narrowed slightly, calculating angles, shadows, resemblance. Then he nodded once. Decision made. You will impersonate the Crown Prince. The words landed like an execution sentence. My brain refused to process them at first. My ears rang. What? My voice cracked. The treaty signing proceeds tonight. The enemy cannot sense weakness. If they do, the border burns by morning. I'm an Omega, I whispered, horrified. I can't. You will. The finality in his voice crushed any illusion of argument. My hand started shaking violently. I'm not trained. I've never led anything. I've never even. You are trained in memory, languages, protocol reading. You've studied royal movements from a distance your entire career. You are quiet. Controlled. Adaptable. I stared at him in disbelief. You're sending me to die. His expression softened just slightly. You're sending thousands to live. Silence swallowed the room. The truth was cruel and simple. My life weighed less than a war. They didn't give me time to cry. They stripped me of my clerk uniform. Washed me. Groomed me. Injected suppressants so strong my bones ached. Trained me in emergency alpha posture, voice control, micro-expressions. Don't drop your eyes. Slow your movements. Minimal emotional response. Never show hesitation. They adjusted my hair to match the prince's. Applied subtle contouring to mirror his bone structure under formal lighting. Every touch felt invasive. Every instruction erased another piece of who I was. By the time they placed the crown in my trembling hands, I barely recognized myself. Back in the present, seated in the negotiation hall beside General Kale, the memory makes my chest tighten. I didn't volunteer for bravery. I was drafted into survival. My fingers curl subtly against the armrest. The seat feels cold. Foreign. Unwelcoming. This is not my world. Yet here I am. Kale shifts slightly behind me. His movement pulls my awareness instantly. He leans closer just enough that only I can hear. Are you comfortable, Your Highness? Comfortable? I almost laugh. My back is stiff. My suppressants are burning through my bloodstream. My instincts are screaming non-stop. My heart feels like a trapped animal pounding against bone. But my face remains calm. Yes. One word. Controlled. Perfect lie. Kale nods. Yet his gaze lingers for half a second longer than necessary. Observing. Noticing. Something about that unsettles me. He is not like the other alphas I've encountered. Most alphas either dominate loudly or ignore quietly. Kale observes. He reads. He senses. That makes him dangerous in a different way. The first delegates begin entering the hall. High-ranking officials. Military commanders. Diplomats. Each face carries decades of political tension. Old grudges hidden behind polite smiles. I straighten my posture instinctively. This is where the real test begins. One wrong facial reaction could expose uncertainty. One submissive micro-movement could reveal omega instinct. I lock my emotions behind mental walls. I become still water. A senior alpha diplomat approaches. Your Highness, he bows slightly. We are honored by your presence. I lift my chin slightly, not too high. Let us proceed efficiently, I reply calmly. He smiles thinly. Politics smell like predators circling. Throughout the early discussions, I speak minimally. Short confirmations. Neutral responses. Carefully measured pauses. Kale occasionally murmurs tactical updates beside me, who is watching, which delegates are pushing agendas, where subtle pressure points exist. His intelligence impresses me. His calm steadiness grounds me. Without realizing it, I begin trusting his guidance. That realization frightens me more than anything. Trust is dangerous when built on lies. At one point, a delegate raises a sensitive border dispute. Tension thickens. I sense eyes narrowing around the table. This is where weakness would be detected. My pulse spikes. I recall the commander's instructions. Firm. Slow. Controlled. I lean forward slightly. The border remains non-negotiable. Our willingness to pursue peace should not be mistaken for vulnerability. My voice comes out steady. Strong. Alpha-like. Silence follows. Then nods. Agreement. The moment passes safely. Relief floods me internally, invisible to the room. I survived that exchange. Kale glances at me. Just briefly. Approval flickers in his eyes. Something warm stirs unexpectedly in my chest. I push it down immediately. This is not the time for emotional reactions. This is a battlefield. Yet even as the hours stretch forward, even as political tension rises and falls, I remain acutely aware of Kale's presence beside me. His subtle protective shifts when someone steps too close. His instinctive positioning between me and aggressive delegates. His quiet monitoring of my posture and breathing. He is guarding me. Not just the Crown Prince illusion. Me. And that makes my heart ache in a way I don't fully understand yet. Because for the first time in my life, an alpha is not looking down at me. He is standing beside me. Chapter 3, Walking into the Lion's Den. The first mistake nearly costs me everything. It happens so quietly that no one notices it but him. Me. And my own terrified instincts. The negotiation session pauses briefly while attendants replace documents and refresh drinks. Delegates drift into small clusters, exchanging quiet whispers and strategic glances. The air remains tense, like a stretched wire humming with restrained conflict. I rise from my seat to stretch my stiff legs. The moment I stand, a powerful alpha from the Eastern delegation steps slightly too close. His scent slams into my senses like a physical blow, heavy, aggressive, territorial. It triggers something primal inside me. My omega body reacts before logic can stop it. My shoulders draw inward. My chin dips half an inch. A submissive micro-movement. So small most eyes would miss it. But not Kale. I feel it immediately, the shift beside me, The sharp inhale he suppresses, the sudden tension coiling through his posture like a drawn blade. His gaze snaps toward me. My stomach drops. I correct myself instantly. Straighten my spine. Lift my chin. Reset my expression. Too late. He saw it. My pulse roars. I avoid his eyes, pretending to adjust my coat. Inside, panic claws at my ribs. Did he recognize it? Did he question it? Did he sense weakness? Cale says nothing. But his attention stays fixed on me for the next several minutes. Not aggressively. Not accusingly. Studying. Reading. I feel naked under his perception. Like a fragile secret standing in open sunlight. I force myself to breathe slowly and evenly, controlling every movement with exhausting precision. A prince does not flinch. A prince does not fold. A prince commands space. I repeat the mantra until my muscles obey. When the session resumes, Cale subtly positions himself closer than before, not touching, but close enough that his presence shields me from direct alpha pressure. It's protective. Instinctive. It also makes my heart race in ways that complicate everything. After the formal discussions conclude for the day, the palace corridors fill with controlled movement and quiet diplomacy. The delegates retreat to assigned quarters. Guards rotate shifts. Cale escorts me toward the private royal wing reserved for visiting royalty. The halls here are quieter. Dimly lit. Echoing softly with distant footsteps. My nerves finally loosen slightly. The constant performance exhausts me. My shoulders ache from holding unnatural posture. My jaw feels tight from suppressing instinctive expressions. My mind buzzes with hyper-awareness. I am tired in a way sleep cannot fix. Cale walks beside me now rather than behind. A deliberate choice. Protective proximity. I sense him glance at me again. You handled the negotiations well today, he says calmly. The praise surprises me. I glance at him before I can stop myself. Our eyes meet. Something unspoken passes between us, curiosity, respect, caution. Thank you, I reply quietly. My voice carries genuine gratitude. He nods. Then hesitates slightly. You seemed startled earlier. My stomach tightens. Careful. Neutral response. Crowded environments require awareness, I say evenly. A half-truth. He studies my face again. His gaze sharpens slightly, not accusatory, but thoughtful. I've escorted many alphas, he says slowly. You move differently. Ice slides down my spine. Different. The word echoes dangerously. I keep my expression calm. Different how? He pauses. More controlled. Less reckless. That is not the accusation I expected. Relief flickers. Caution preserves lives, I respond. He nods. I agree. The tension eases slightly. But the warning remains clear. He notices details. I must be flawless. We reach the royal chamber assigned to me. The doors are massive, carved stone, heavy security locks, private guards stationed outside. Cale stops at the threshold. I will be stationed nearby throughout the night, he says. If you require anything, signal. Thank you, I reply. Again. He inclines his head respectfully and steps back. The doors close behind me. Silence crashes down. The moment I am alone, my body collapses inward. My shoulders sag. My breath shudders. My legs weaken. I brace my hands against the table to steady myself. My heart is still racing. I peel off the ceremonial gloves and flex my fingers, trying to release tension. This room smells neutral, sanitized, controlled, faintly floral. No alpha dominance pressing against my senses. Relief floods me. I slide down into a chair and press my palms over my face. I survived the first day. Barely. But my mind won't stop replaying Kale's gaze. The way he noticed. The way he shielded me. The way his presence made me feel both safer and more vulnerable at the same time. That contradiction unsettles me deeply. I am supposed to fear alphas. Yet something about him feels grounding. Dangerous thought. I push it away. A soft knock interrupts my spiraling thoughts. My body stiffens instantly. Your Highness, a familiar voice calls. Kale. My pulse jumps. I straighten quickly, forcing composure back into my posture before answering. Yes? I brought evening tea, he says. The healers recommend hydration after prolonged suppressant exposure. My fingers curl unconsciously. He noticed that too. Enter, I reply. The door opens. Kale steps inside carrying a small tray with a teacup and water. He places it gently on the table. Thank you, I say. Our fingers nearly touch as I reach for the cup. Electric tension snaps through my nerves again. I pull my hand back instinctively, then catch myself and resume slowly. He watches the movement. Noticing. Again. I lift the cup and sip carefully. Warm liquid soothes my throat. Silence settles between us. Not uncomfortable. Just charged. You seem tired, Kale says quietly. I am, I admit. It slips out before I can filter it. His gaze softens slightly. This environment exhausts even experienced commanders, he says. Rest while you can. Tomorrow will be more demanding. I nod. Good night, General. He hesitates at the doorway. Then turns back briefly. You carry responsibility well, he says simply. Not many could. The sincerity in his voice startles me. Something warm and fragile flutters in my chest. Good night, I reply again. He leaves. The door closes softly behind him. I sit in silence for a long moment. My heartbeat gradually slows. My fingers trace the rim of the teacup unconsciously. I replay his words. You carry responsibility well. No one has ever said that to me before. I was always background. Support. Invisible. Now, somehow, I am seen. Even if the version of me he sees is a lie. That thought hurts more than I expect. I lie on the bed later, staring up at the ceiling. Sleep does not come easily. My mind replays the near mistake. The submissive flinch. Kale's watchful gaze. I cannot afford another slip. Tomorrow must be perfect. Yet beneath the fear, something else stirs quietly. Curiosity. Connection. Dangerous emotion. I turn onto my side and close my eyes tightly. Do not feel. Do not attach. Do not hope. This is survival. Not romance. Not safety. Not love. Still. My heart refuses to fully listen. Chapter 4, The First Touch. Morning arrives before my fear has finished resting. Light slips through the tall curtains in pale silver streaks, painting the stone walls with quiet dawn. For a brief moment, as consciousness returns slowly, I forget where I am. Then the weight settles back onto my chest. The crown. The lie. The alpha world waiting outside my door. My eyes open fully. I inhale. The air smells neutral, clean linen, faint herbs, no dominant alpha scent. My omega instincts relax slightly in the safety of isolation. I lie still for a few seconds longer than necessary, gathering courage like armor. Then I rise. Preparation becomes ritual. Suppressant injection, sharp sting under the skin, cold burn spreading through veins. Breathing exercises, slow, controlled. Posture correction, shoulders back, chin level, spine straight. Voice calibration, a few quiet phrases spoken aloud in a lower register. Good morning. Proceed. Thank you. Neutral. Steady. Calm. I stare into the mirror again. The prince stares back. I barely see myself anymore. That scares me. A knock at the door. Your Highness, Kale's voice calls softly. Breakfast escort. My stomach tightens automatically. Enter. He steps inside, crisp uniform already immaculate, hair neatly secured, eyes alert and focused. The way he carries himself feels like controlled kinetic energy, always ready, always calculating. Did you rest well? He asks. Yes, I lie smoothly. He studies me for a brief second. Not judging. Observing. I avoid overthinking it. We walk toward the dining hall. Morning light floods the corridors. Palace staff bow respectfully as we pass. Guards salute Kale with crisp precision. I am hyper-aware of every movement. The earlier near mistake still echoes in my nervous system. I cannot afford another slip. Breakfast is formal but quiet. Kale stands near the table while I eat lightly. I notice his eyes tracking entrances, exits, reflections in polished surfaces. A predator guarding its territory. The thought both unsettles and oddly reassures me. After breakfast, Kale informs me of the schedule. Strategic review in 1 hour. Light training session afterward. Training. The word hits like cold water. My stomach twists. What kind of training? I ask carefully. Basic sparring and stamina evaluation, he replies. Royal standards require visible competence. Panic flickers through me. Sparring means physical contact. Strength exposure. Risk. I'm not at full condition, I attempt cautiously. He tilts his head slightly. Then we will adjust intensity. That doesn't fully reassure me. The training hall is large and open, sunlight streaming across polished floors. Weapon racks line the walls. Several guards practice in the background. My body tightens instinctively. Alpha territory. High dominance environment. Kale gestures for light stretching first. I mimic his movements carefully. My Omega body is flexible, agile, traits that could appear suspicious if exaggerated. I deliberately restrain fluidity, keeping movements slightly stiff and structured. He notices everything. I can feel it. After warm-up, he steps closer. We'll keep it simple, he says. Grip control and balance. He positions himself in front of me. Close. Too close. His scent reaches me fully for the first time without hallway dilution. Warm iron. Forest rain. Controlled fire. My senses spike violently. My pulse jumps. My body responds instinctively in ways I cannot fully control. Heat coils in my stomach. Breath shortens. Muscles tighten. Danger. Desire. Fear. I swallow hard and lock my focus forward. Place your hands here, Kale instructs, guiding my wrists gently. His fingers wrap around mine. Skin-to-skin contact. Electricity rips through my nerves. My breath catches sharply. My fingers tremble. I try to hide it. Kale pauses. His brows knit faintly. You all right? Yes, I answer too quickly. Lie. His grip loosens slightly but remains supportive. Shift your weight. He steps in closer to demonstrate balance positioning. His chest brushes mine. Barely. But it feels like impact. My Omega instincts surge violently. My body reacts before logic intervenes. A faint involuntary lean toward him. Seeking warmth. Seeking protection. Seeking connection. I freeze mid-motion. Horror floods my mind. What did I just do? Kale stiffens instantly. His hands tighten reflexively. Our eyes lock. The air thickens. Time slows painfully. His pupils dilate slightly. Confusion flickers. Something else flashes too, something primal. Recognition? Curiosity? My heart pounds so loudly I'm sure he hears it. I jerk backward abruptly. I'm sorry, I blurt. Lost balance. The excuse sounds weak even to my own ears. Cale releases me slowly. His jaw tightens slightly. Focus, he says, voice lower than before. Not angry. But affected. We resume training cautiously. The atmosphere shifts, charged, alert, restrained. Every brush of air feels amplified. Every movement feels watched. I keep strict control of my posture and distance. My entire nervous system screams to stay away. And simultaneously, to stay close. The contradiction makes me dizzy. The session ends quickly. Cale steps back and exhales slowly. That's enough for today. Relief floods me. I nod silently. He avoids eye contact for a moment. Then speaks. You're sensitive to proximity, he observes carefully. Some alphas are. My chest tightens. I cling to that interpretation desperately. Yes, I agree quietly. He studies me briefly. Then nods once. The moment passes. But something has shifted between us. Unspoken tension hums like live wire. As we walk back through the corridor, silence stretches. My hands still tingle faintly where he touched them. My skin feels warm. My heart feels confused. I hate my body for reacting so strongly. I hate my heart for remembering the warmth. Later, alone again in my chamber, I collapse onto the bed and stare at the ceiling. My mind replays the moment endlessly. His hands. His scent. The closeness. The way his eyes changed. Fear mixes with something dangerously close to longing. This is not safe. This is not smart. This is not allowed. Yet my body remembers him with alarming clarity. I press my palms against my chest, trying to calm the racing rhythm beneath. Do not bond. Do not feel. Do not want. Because if I let myself fall, I will fall into a lie. And lies shatter everything they touch. Chapter 5, Learning to Speak Power. Power is not loud. I always thought alphas ruled through force, raised voices, sharp commands, overwhelming dominance pressing weaker instincts into submission. But watching Cale move through authority teaches me something different. Real power is stillness. It is the calm certainty in his stride, the way people adjust their movements unconsciously when he enters a room, the quiet obedience that follows him like gravity. He doesn't demand space. Space opens for him. I begin studying him the way I once studied ancient manuscripts, observing patterns, memorizing subtle cues, learning the invisible language of command. The way he holds eye contact one heartbeat longer than necessary. The way he speaks only when others finish talking. The way his silence often carries more weight than words. I imitate carefully. Adopt slowly. Control deliberately. If I am going to survive this lie, I must learn to wear power convincingly. The next diplomatic session tests me harder than before. A senior alpha from the mountain region challenges border supply rights aggressively. His tone is sharp, his posture confrontational, his scent intentionally flared. Alpha dominance pressure floods the room. My omega instincts recoil violently. My chest tightens. My body wants to retreat. I force myself to remain seated. I meet his gaze steadily. Silence stretches. He waits for reaction. Submission. Flinch. Weakness. Instead, I let the silence deepen. 1 heartbeat. 2. 3. Then I speak. Your request disregards established agreements. My voice remains calm. Flat. Unemotional. Not defensive. His brows knit slightly. The agreement was outdated, he pushes. I lean back slowly in the chair. Relaxed. Unbothered. Then renegotiation will occur through proper channels. Not intimidation. The room stills. Kale's presence beside me remains solid, supportive. The alpha hesitates. Then nods stiffly. Challenge withdrawn. Victory. A small one. But real. My pulse steadies gradually. I did it. Afterward, Kale glances at me briefly. Approval flickers again. Something inside me warms. I hide it quickly. We walk the palace gardens later for a controlled diplomatic appearance. Sunlight filters through flowering trees. The scent of fresh leaves softens the heavy alpha atmosphere. I breathe more easily here. Kale maintains measured distance but remains attentive. You're adapting quickly, he says quietly. I observe, I reply. He nods slightly. Observation builds command. Our conversation flows easily. Effortlessly. That surprises me. I am used to fading into silence. With Kale, silence feels comfortable. Not empty. Not awkward. Just peaceful. Join us on this journey, subscribe now and hit the bell, so you never miss the stories that will grip your heart and stir your soul. As we walk, a group of young guards practice drills nearby. Their movements are sloppy, overly aggressive. Kale watches them with subtle dissatisfaction. They rely too much on force, he murmurs. Strength without control creates chaos. I nod thoughtfully. Control preserves lives, I echo. He glances at me sharply. Recognition flashes. You remember. A faint smile touches my lips before I can stop it. Yes. He studies me curiously. Then his expression softens slightly. That tiny shift sends an unfamiliar warmth spreading through my chest. Later, during a strategic review, a delegate attempts to corner me politically with layered implications and double meanings. I breathe slowly. I analyze. Then I respond with minimal words, precise, controlled, unyielding. The delegate retreats politely. Kale's gaze lingers afterward. Something unreadable moves behind his eyes. That night, exhaustion hits harder than expected. The constant performance drains every nerve. I soak in a warm bath to ease muscle tension, letting the steam loosen stiff joints and calm frayed senses. For a brief moment, I allow myself to exist without the mask. Without posture. Without control. Just me. An omega in warm water. Safe. The relief almost makes me cry. When I return to my chamber wrapped in soft robes, a folded note rests on the table. Kale's handwriting. Clean. Precise. Ensure you hydrate. Tomorrow will be longer. Simple. Practical. Yet the gesture touches something tender inside me. Someone is thinking about my well-being. Not the crown prince. Me. The realization unsettles and comforts simultaneously. I lie in bed later, staring at the ceiling again. But this time my thoughts drift not toward fear alone, but toward him. His quiet steadiness. His subtle encouragement. His protective presence. I catch myself imagining what it would feel like to trust him fully. To speak honestly. To exist without pretending. The fantasy frightens me. Because once imagined, it becomes tempting. I turn onto my side and close my eyes firmly. This is not a story of connection. This is a mission. A lie. A temporary survival role. Nothing more. Yet my heart doesn't seem convinced. Chapter 6, Almost Discovered. The closer I grow to perfection, the closer I drift toward disaster. It happens during an inspection tour of the Eastern Defense Wing, a routine diplomatic appearance designed to reassure Allied commanders and display unified strength. A narrow corridor. Too many alphas. Too much pressure. The air feels thick with layered dominance, pheromones overlapping like invisible storms colliding. My suppressants struggle to keep up. My senses buzz painfully. My skin feels hypersensitive, nerves firing too sharply. Kale walks close beside me, subtly shielding my left side from the densest alpha cluster. I cling to that protection silently. But even his presence cannot fully block the sensory overload. A young alpha commander approaches. Eager. Ambitious. Too confident. He bows quickly, then steps into my personal space without invitation. My prince, he says loudly, eyes shining with competitive hunger. It is an honor. I trained under your uncle's doctrine. His scent surges forward aggressively. My vision blurs slightly. My body reacts instinctively. My knees soften. A faint tremor ripples through my hands. My omega instincts scream, submit. Yield. Lower gaze. Appease. I fight it desperately. My jaw tightens. My breath catches. For a fraction of a second. My eyes drop. Not fully. Not obviously. But enough. Kale notices instantly. He steps forward sharply, placing himself half between us. Maintain respectful distance, Kale says coolly. The young alpha blinks in surprise. My apologies, General. He retreats slightly. Kale's posture remains firm. Protective. Commanding. The young alpha bows and withdraws. Crisis narrowly avoided. But Kale turns toward me immediately. His gaze searches my face carefully. Concern flickers. You're pale, he says quietly. Are you unwell? My heart pounds violently. Think fast. Lie clean. I didn't sleep well, I reply evenly. Half-truth. He studies me closely. Too closely. His eyes narrow slightly. Something in his expression shifts, calculation, suspicion, curiosity. My suppressants burn hot under my skin. My pulse thunders. If he leans closer. If he scents the air. If he notices the subtle wrongness. Everything ends. Seconds stretch painfully. Then Kale exhales slowly. We'll shorten the tour, he decides. You should rest. Relief nearly makes my knees buckle. Thank you, I whisper. He nods and signals the escorts to redirect. We walk back in tense silence. My heart refuses to slow. My nerves feel raw and exposed. I came dangerously close to revealing myself. My body betrayed me again. Fear coils tightly around my chest. Once inside my chamber, the door seals behind me. My control finally shatters. My hands shake uncontrollably. My breathing becomes uneven. I slide down against the wall and curl inward, hugging my knees. Tears sting my eyes. I hate this weakness. I hate this fragile omega body. I hate the constant fear of exposure. I hate how close Kale came to seeing me. Not because I fear punishment. But because I fear losing his trust. The realization startles me deeply. When did his opinion start mattering this much? A soft knock interrupts my spiral. My breath catches. Your Highness? Kale's voice again. May I enter? Panic flares. I scramble to compose myself quickly, wiping my face, straightening posture, steadying breathing. Yes, I answer. He enters quietly. His eyes immediately soften when he sees my strained expression. You're pushing yourself too hard, he says gently. The softness in his voice catches me off guard. I nod faintly. I don't want to appear weak, I admit. Not entirely a lie. Strength is knowing when to rest, he replies. He steps slightly closer. Not invading. Just near. Let me arrange lighter duties tomorrow. Gratitude wells unexpectedly. Thank you. Silence settles. Charged. Intimate. Dangerous. He hesitates slightly. You're different from most royals, he says quietly. My stomach tightens. In what way? You carry pressure inward instead of projecting it outward. That takes discipline. I swallow. He's describing omega survival instincts without realizing it. Discipline is necessary, I reply carefully. He nods. Something thoughtful lingers in his eyes. Almost understanding. Almost insight. His gaze drops briefly to my hands. They're still trembling faintly. He notices. Again. He hesitates, then reaches out gently. Not touching. Just hovering near my wrist. May I? He asks softly. Consent. Respect. It startles me. Yes, I whisper. His fingers close lightly around my wrist. Warm. Steady. Grounding. Not restraining. Not dominating. Simply supportive. My trembling slows gradually under his calm touch. My breathing evens. My body relaxes despite my mind screaming danger. The intimacy of the moment hits me like a wave. I am letting an alpha touch me. Trust me. Comfort me. My heart aches painfully. His thumb brushes my pulse point unconsciously. His eyes flicker. He feels it. The speed. The vulnerability. The connection. Our gazes meet. Something electric comes between us. Recognition. Confusion. Pull. He releases me abruptly. Steps back. I should go, he says tightly. Yes, I agree quietly. He exits swiftly. The door closes. Silence crashes down. I stare at my hand where he touched me. It still feels warm. Alive. Safe. I press my fingers against my palm slowly. My heart feels tangled. Scared. Longing. Guilty. I am walking toward emotional disaster. And I don't know how to stop myself. Chapter 7, The Cracks in His Armor. After that day, Cale changes. Not in obvious ways. Not in anything I could point to and accuse. But I feel it. The shift lives in the spaces between his movements, in the pauses before he speaks, in the way his eyes linger just a heartbeat longer than before. He becomes careful. Not distant. Careful. As if he is walking around something fragile he hasn't yet identified. Me. He assigns additional guards to widen the protective perimeter during appearances. He subtly reduces my exposure to dense alpha crowds. He positions himself closer during negotiations, shielding my senses without announcing it. All of it done quietly. All of it done without comment. Gratitude and guilt knot together painfully in my chest. Because every kindness deepens the lie. One evening, after a long day of political theater, Cale invites me to observe the training grounds at dusk, to assess morale, he says. The sky burns orange and gold. Soldiers move rhythmically below, their drills steady and disciplined. We stand on a raised balcony overlooking the grounds. The cool evening breeze carries the scent of stone and sweat and fading sun. Cale rests his hands lightly on the railing. Relaxed. Unarmored. I have never seen him like this. Command isn't about being feared, he says quietly, almost to himself. It's about being trusted. The statement surprises me. I glance at him. His eyes are fixed on the soldiers below, not on me. You inspire loyalty, I say honestly. He exhales softly. Loyalty is fragile, he replies. It breaks when leaders forget the cost others pay. The weight in his voice pulls something loose inside me. Do you regret command? I ask before thinking. He turns his head slightly. No, he answers. But I regret the lives it consumes. Silence stretches. The vulnerability of the moment feels intimate, dangerous. This is not the image of the Iron Alpha the world knows. This is a man carrying ghosts. He continues quietly. I was young when I first led troops. I believed strength meant never bending. Never hesitating. He pauses. I was wrong. I listen intently, heart aching. What changed? I ask. Loss, he answers simply. The word lands heavy. He doesn't elaborate. He doesn't need to. Pain hums beneath it like an open wound scarred over. I want to comfort him. The urge surprises me with its intensity. An omega instinct, perhaps. Or something more human. You learned, I say softly. That matters. He glances at me then. Really looks at me. Something warm flickers briefly across his face. Coming from you, he says, that means more than you realize. My breath catches. Does he sense something deeper? Or am I imagining things? After that evening, our conversations shift subtly. They become more personal. Less formal. He asks my opinions on governance, on diplomacy, on balancing strength and restraint. He listens. Truly listens. When I speak, he doesn't interrupt. Doesn't dismiss. Doesn't dominate. He respects my thoughts. That alone makes my chest ache painfully. No alpha has ever treated my words like they mattered. During a late-night document review, fatigue catches up with me again. I rub my temples unconsciously. Cale notices immediately. You should rest, he says. I can finish this, I insist. He shakes his head. Even commanders rest. He pours tea and places it beside me gently. Our fingers brush again. This time I don't pull away immediately. The contact lingers half a second longer than necessary. Our eyes meet. The air tightens. He withdraws slowly. Something unspoken passes between us. Acknowledged. Unresolved. Later, as I prepare to retire for the night, I find myself replaying his quiet vulnerability again and again. The way his voice softened when he spoke of loss. The way his shoulders relaxed when he wasn't performing command. The way he looks at me now, not just as a prince, but as a person. The realization terrifies me. Because the more he sees me, the more he risks seeing through me. The next morning brings rain. Soft. Steady. Muting the world into shades of gray. The schedule lightens slightly due to weather delays. Cale escorts me through the inner halls instead of public corridors. The quieter route brings us close. Our shoulders nearly brush as we walk. The closeness feels charged. Cale, I say suddenly. He stops. Turns toward me. Yes? The urge to tell him everything surges violently, the truth, the fear, the guilt. My heart pounds painfully. But I swallow it back. Thank you, I say instead. For watching out for me. His expression softens. It's my duty, he replies. I shake my head faintly. It feels like more than that. Silence stretches. Rain taps against the windows. His gaze searches mine. Slow. Careful. Perhaps, he says quietly. The word hangs heavy between us. Unanswered. Unsafe. Hopeful. That night, as I lie awake listening to rain against stone, I finally admit the truth to myself. The danger is no longer just exposure. It is attachment. Because if this continues, I won't just lose the lie. I will lose him. And I don't know which loss scares me more. Chapter 8, when the lie starts feeling real. Something subtle shifts after that. Not dramatic. Not explosive. Just quieter. Like a door opening inside my chest that I didn't realize had been locked for years. Cale no longer feels like a distant protector orbiting my existence. He feels close. Present. Real. And that closeness changes the way I breathe, the way I think, the way I move through each day. Our mornings begin overlapping now. Sometimes we walk the palace corridors together before official duties begin, no guards immediately behind us, no audience watching. Just the echo of footsteps. Soft morning light. Shared silence. Once, I catch myself humming quietly without realizing it. A small habit from my Omega days. The sound slips out unconsciously. I freeze. Embarrassed. Kale glances sideways. "What's that?" he asks mildly. I hesitate. A tune I used to hum when I was younger. Not entirely a lie. He nods. It's calming. The simple acceptance warms something fragile inside me. We begin sharing small, personal things. Harmless stories. Childhood memories, carefully edited, sanitized, safe. I speak of palace libraries and quiet study corners. He speaks of harsh training fields and long marches under freezing rain. Two very different worlds. Yet somehow, the distance between them feels smaller when we speak. One afternoon, during a quiet break between sessions, Kale offers me a seat by the window overlooking the inner courtyard. Sunlight pools across stone tiles. Birds flutter lazily across the open sky. Peaceful. Rare. "You seem more at ease today," he observes. I realize he's right. My shoulders are relaxed. My breathing steady. The constant tight coil of fear loosens slightly. "I think I'm adjusting," I admit softly. He studies me. "You're adapting remarkably well." The praise lands warm. My lips curve into a faint smile before I can stop it. He notices. His expression softens in response. Something intimate hums between us. Unspoken. Gentle. Real. That night, a storm rolls in unexpectedly. Thunder cracks loudly. The sound jolts me awake. My heart leaps into my throat. Old instinctive fear surfaces, loud noises, sudden danger. I sit up abruptly in bed, breathing unevenly. Before I can calm myself, a knock sounds at the door. Quick. Urgent. "Your Highness?" Kale's voice calls. I hesitate, then rise and open the door slightly. He stands there, hair damp from rain, expression alert. "I heard movement," he says. "Are you all right?" The concern in his voice loosens something tight inside me. "Yes," I say. "Just startled." He nods. Thunder rumbles again distantly. I flinch slightly. He notices. Hesitates. Then speaks gently. "May I stay nearby until the storm passes?" The offer is careful. Respectful. Not assuming. My chest tightens unexpectedly. "Yes," I whisper. He remains just inside the doorway, leaning lightly against the wall. Not crowding. Not intruding. Just present. We stand quietly while rain lashes against stone and thunder echoes faintly. The silence is strangely comforting. Safe. I realize something then. I feel safe with him. Not because he is strong, but because he is steady. That realization terrifies me more than any threat. Our gazes meet briefly in the dim light. Something deep and soft flickers between us. Not urgency. Not hunger. Just connection. Understanding. My heart aches. Days pass. The treaty discussions progress smoothly. Political tension slowly eases. The threat of immediate war begins to fade. Relief should comfort me. Instead, dread coils quietly inside me. Because the closer peace becomes, the closer my role ends. One evening, Kale walks with me along the inner garden paths. Lantern light glows warmly against stone walls. Crickets hum softly. The night feels gentle. He glances at me thoughtfully. When this treaty concludes, he says slowly, "What will you do?" The question strikes like a blade. My stomach tightens. I cannot tell him the truth. I cannot reveal that this version of me will disappear. I'll return home, I say carefully. He nods. A shadow crosses his face briefly. I see. Silence stretches. Something unspoken lingers beneath the surface. Regret? Loss? Possibility? I don't dare ask. Later, alone in my chamber, I sit on the edge of the bed and stare at my hands. They look steady. Strong. Prince-like. Yet inside them lives the same fragile Omega heart. I whisper into the quiet room. When did the lie start feeling real? The answer frightens me. Because I already know. It started the moment I began trusting him. Chapter 9, The Night He Held Me. Night arrives wrapped in unease. The palace does not sleep peacefully that evening. The corridors feel tighter. Quieter in the wrong way. Guards move with sharpened alertness. Whispers trail behind closed doors. Danger hums beneath the stone. I sense it before anyone tells me. My Omega instincts tighten like a drawn wire. Something is wrong. The meeting runs late. Too late. By the time Kale escorts me back toward the royal wing, the halls are dim and nearly empty. Torchlight flickers against shadows that stretch too long across the walls. My steps slow unconsciously. Kale notices immediately. Stay close, he murmurs. I nod and tighten my grip slightly on the fabric of my coat. The silence presses thick against my ears. Then it happens. A sudden crash echoes from the western corridor. Shouts erupt. Steel rings sharply. My heart leaps violently. Kale reacts instantly. He grabs my arm firmly, not rough, not gentle, pure command. Move. He pulls me into a side passage as armored figures surge into the main hall. Blades flash. A scream cuts the air. Adrenaline floods my body. My vision tunnels. My instincts scream, hide. Survive. Kale shoves open a concealed door and pushes me inside a narrow service chamber. Stay here, he orders. Before I can respond, footsteps thunder closer. Kale curses softly and steps inside, sealing the door behind us. Darkness swallows the space. The room is small. Tight. Stone walls closing in. Only faint torchlight filters through a narrow vent. My breathing turns shallow. Fear coils violently through my chest. I can hear fighting outside. Steel striking steel. Shouting. Pain. Death dangerously close. My body starts shaking uncontrollably. I can't stop it. The suppressants struggle under adrenaline surge. My Omega instincts spiral wildly. Kale turns toward me in the darkness. Breathe, he commands quietly. I try. Fail. My chest feels locked. My hands tremble violently. I can't, my voice cracks. He steps closer instinctively. I feel his presence more than see it. His warmth. His steady breathing. Look at me, he says softly. I lift my gaze shakily. Even in the dim light, his eyes shine steady and focused. He reaches for me slowly, carefully, giving me time to pull away. I don't. His hands settle on my shoulders. Firm. Anchoring. Not restraining. Match my breathing, he instructs. Slow inhale. Slow exhale. I try to mirror him. My breath stutters. My vision blurs. The sounds outside grow louder. My panic spikes again. I'm scared, I whisper helplessly. The admission feels raw and fragile. Kale's jaw tightens. Without hesitation, he pulls me into his arms. Strong. Protective. Shielding. My face presses into his chest instinctively. His heart beats steady and powerful beneath my ear. The rhythm grounds me. My shaking slowly eases. His arms lock around me securely. Not possessive. Not dominating. Protective. Safe. I've got you, he murmurs quietly into my hair. Nothing will touch you. The words crack something open inside me. Tears burn behind my eyes. I cling to him without thinking. My omega instincts settle into the embrace like a frightened animal finding shelter. His scent surrounds me, steady, calming, grounding. My breathing finally slows. The chaos outside fades into distant noise. In this small dark space, only him exists. Only safety. Only warmth. Minutes pass. Maybe longer. Time blurs. We remain locked together. Neither of us moving. Neither of us speaking. The intimacy of the moment presses heavily against my heart. My body feels light and heavy all at once. My mind whispers dangerous thoughts. This is what belonging feels like. This is what protection feels like. This is what love could feel like. The realization terrifies me. Eventually, the sounds outside quiet. Footsteps retreat. Silence returns cautiously. Cale loosens his hold slightly but doesn't fully release me. You okay? He murmurs. I nod against his chest. Yes, I whisper. Reluctantly, I pull back. Our eyes meet in the dim light. Something charged hums between us. Raw. Unfiltered. His hands still rest lightly on my arms. My fingers linger unconsciously against his uniform. Neither of us moves for a breath too long. Then he slowly releases me completely. His expression tightens, restraint battling emotion. We should return once it's safe, he says quietly. I nod. My heart pounds painfully. Not from fear now. From closeness. From connection. From something dangerously close to love. As we exit the chamber later, the palace is calm again, guards securing corridors, medics assisting wounded soldiers. Cale walks slightly closer than before. Protective instinct heightened. Neither of us speaks. The moment hangs heavy between us. Unresolved. Unforgettable. That night, alone in my bed, I cannot stop replaying the feel of his arms around me. The steady heartbeat. The whispered promise of safety. My heart aches with longing and fear tangled tightly together. I know one truth clearly now. I am no longer just pretending. I am falling. Chapter 10, Falling into the Impossible. Sleep refuses to come. No matter how tightly I close my eyes, my body remembers him. The strength of his arms. The steady rhythm of his heart. The quiet promise in his voice when he said he had me. My omega instincts curl around the memory like something precious and dangerous. I turn onto my side, pressing my face into the pillow, trying to erase the warmth still lingering on my skin. This is wrong. I repeat it like a prayer. Wrong identity. Wrong future. Wrong heart. And yet, my chest aches with a longing I cannot silence. The next morning feels different. Not tense. Not fearful. Charged. Every hallway feels too small. Every echo too loud. Every shadow too close to revealing what my heart is hiding. When I enter the council chamber, Cale is already there. Our eyes meet instantly. The memory of last night crashes between us. Something flickers across his face, relief, concern, something softer and more dangerous. He inclines his head respectfully, as always. But the distance between us feels thinner than paper. Throughout the day, I catch him watching me when he thinks I'm not looking. Not in suspicion. In concern. In quiet care. It makes my chest tighten painfully. I start noticing things I never allowed myself to notice before. The way his jaw tightens when negotiations grow heated. The way his voice lowers instinctively when he speaks to me alone. The way his posture subtly shifts closer when crowds surround us. Protective. Instinctive. Unconscious. It feels intimate in ways no touch ever was. By late afternoon, the council dismisses early. Storm clouds gather outside, heavy and dark. The palace feels restless again. Kale walks me toward the private gallery overlooking the gardens, a place rarely used, silent and open to fresh air. You seem distant today, he says quietly. I hesitate. My heart thuds too loudly. I didn't sleep much, I admit. He studies me. Because of last night? The honesty in his question disarms me. Yes, I whisper. Silence stretches between us. Wind stirs the curtains gently. I keep thinking about it, he says slowly. About how afraid you were. Heat creeps into my face. I'm sorry, I murmur. I shouldn't have lost control. His eyes sharpen. That's not what I meant. I look up. His gaze holds mine steadily. I was glad I was there, he says quietly. Glad I could protect you. The words strike deep. Dangerously deep. My heart stumbles. Kale, my voice wavers. You don't understand. He steps half a pace closer. Then help me understand. My instincts scream to pull away. My heart begs me to stay. The lie presses against my ribs like a trapped animal. I turn slightly toward the window, breaking eye contact. There are things about me you don't know, I say carefully. Things that would change how you see me. He doesn't hesitate. Then tell me. I swallow hard. I can't. I whisper instead. The words feel like betrayal. He watches me silently for a long moment. Then he nods once. All right. No pressure. No anger. Just acceptance. The respect nearly breaks me. That night, the rain begins again. Soft this time. Gentle. I stand by the window in my chamber, watching droplets trail down the glass. My hand rests unconsciously against my chest, where my heart refuses to calm. I whisper into the quiet. I'm falling into something impossible. And for the first time, I don't know if I want to stop. Chapter 11, The Secret Slipping Through My Fingers. The problem with falling in love while living a lie is that the lie starts cracking in places you cannot control. Not in big, obvious ways. In tiny, careless moments. Breaths held too long. Touches that linger half a second extra. Instincts that betray you before logic can intervene. I feel it happening to me. Slowly. Dangerously. The next few days blur into tense calm. The treaty approaches its final signing. Diplomats smile more easily. Guards loosen their constant edge. The palace breathes again. Everyone relaxes. Except me. Because the closer peace comes, the closer my mask must disappear. I begin catching myself slipping. Standing too lightly. Moving too quietly. Reacting emotionally instead of strategically. Omega habits trying to resurface. I correct myself constantly, stiffening my posture, lowering my voice, slowing my steps. But Kale notices everything. He always has. It happens during weapons inspection training. A purely symbolic event, the Crown Prince observing defensive drills alongside the commanding Alpha. I stand beside Kale on the raised platform while soldiers demonstrate combat formations below. Steel flashes. Orders echo. Boots strike stone in perfect rhythm. The sound of clashing metal suddenly spikes too sharply. My nerves jolt. My body reacts before my mind does. I flinch. Just slightly. Just enough. Kale's head turns instantly. His eyes narrow in quiet concern. Are you all right? He murmurs low enough that only I can hear. I'm fine, I answer quickly. Too quickly. He studies me longer than necessary. Something thoughtful crosses his face. Something questioning. A beat of unease slides down my spine. Later, as we walk back through the corridor, a servant accidentally brushes past me, carrying a heavy tray. The contact is sudden. Unexpected. My Omega instincts spike reflexively. I instinctively step back instead of standing my ground like an alpha would. The servant apologizes hurriedly and rushes away. But Kale saw it. He slows his pace slightly. "You're more sensitive to sudden contact than most alphas," he observes quietly. My pulse jumps dangerously. I force a calm expression. "I've always disliked crowds." "Not a lie. Just not the whole truth." He nods slowly. But his eyes remain thoughtful. Watching. Measuring. The secret tightens its grip around my throat. That night, the palace hosts a small diplomatic dinner. Formal. Elegant. Controlled. I sit at the head table beside Kale while ambassadors toast the coming peace. Crystal glasses clink. Soft music hums through the hall. Candlelight warms the room. Everything appears perfect. But my body feels wrong. The suppressants begin wearing thinner than expected, stress weakening their hold. My senses sharpen uncomfortably. Sounds grow louder. Scents grow sharper. Emotions swell too close to the surface. Kale's presence beside me feels overwhelming in ways I struggle to suppress. His warmth. His scent. His calm dominance. My heartbeat stumbles dangerously. I subtly shift my posture, trying to regain control. Kale leans closer slightly. "You look pale," he murmurs. I swallow. "I just need some air." Before he can protest, I rise smoothly and excuse myself politely. I move quickly through the side doors into a quiet terrace corridor. Cool night air washes over me. I grip the stone railing and breathe deeply, forcing my instincts back into line. Control yourself. You cannot fail now. Footsteps approach behind me. I know who it is before I turn. Kale stops a short distance away, giving me space. "Are you unwell?" he asks gently. I shake my head slowly. "Just overwhelmed." He hesitates. Then steps closer. Close enough that I can feel his warmth again. "You've been different lately," he says quietly. More distant. More tense. My fingers tighten against the railing. "I'm fine." The words sound weak even to me. His gaze sharpens slightly. "You don't have to lie to me." The sentence lands heavy. Not accusation. Trust. My chest tightens painfully. The truth presses violently against my lips. I want to tell him everything. I want to drop the crown and let him see the fragile Omega underneath. But fear clamps down hard. If I tell him, I could destroy everything. The treaty. The peace. His trust. His heart. So I stay silent. And the silence becomes its own betrayal. A sudden wave of dizziness hits me. The suppressants dip dangerously low. My knees weaken slightly. Kale catches the movement instantly and steps forward, gripping my arm to steady me. The contact sends a jolt through my entire body. My breath stutters. His eyes widen slightly at my reaction. Too sensitive. Too reactive. Too Omega. His grip tightens instinctively, protective. "Hey, slow down. Breathe." I force myself to steady. But his gaze remains locked on my face now. Searching. Connecting dots. Suspicion flickering behind concern. The secret slips another inch closer to the edge. Later that night, alone in my chamber, I sit on the bed trembling softly. Not from fear. From how close I came to being seen. From how much I want to be seen. I press my palms against my eyes and whisper into the quiet. He's starting to notice. And once the truth starts slipping, it cannot be pushed back. Chapter 12, The Moment I Almost Broke. I wake with the taste of panic already on my tongue. My body feels wrong. Too warm. Too sensitive. Too aware. The suppressants didn't fully stabilize overnight. That realization sends a cold ripple of fear through me. If my control slips today, Everything could unravel. The treaty signing is scheduled for the afternoon. One final appearance. One final performance as the crown prince. After that, my role ends. Freedom should comfort me. Instead, my chest feels tight with dread. Because the lie isn't the only thing ending. The palace hums with preparation. Banners hang from marble pillars. Guards polish armor until it shines like mirrors. Diplomats rehearse their speeches with forced smiles. I walk through the corridors in full ceremonial attire. Heavy coat. Crown resting against my temples. Authority stitched into every thread. I look like a prince. I feel like a fragile secret barely holding together. Kale joins me near the outer hall. His gaze flicks over me automatically, protective assessment, as always. You look tense, he says quietly. I'm fine, I reply. The lie feels thin. He doesn't argue. But his eyes linger on me longer than necessary. As we enter the signing chamber, the crowd's presence hits me like a wave. So many scents. So many voices. So much energy pressing against my senses. My breathing tightens. I force myself forward. Step by step. Smile steady. Spine straight. But inside, my omega instincts writhe uncomfortably. My skin prickles with awareness. Kale remains at my side, a silent anchor. I cling to that steadiness more than I should. The ceremony begins. Scrolls are unrolled. Seals prepared. Formal words echo across stone walls. I sign my name carefully. Ink glides smoothly. Applause follows. Peace. Achieved. The room fills with relieved murmurs and polite celebration. It should feel like victory. Instead, my vision blurs slightly. Heat rushes through my body in a sudden, dizzying wave. My knees weaken. The suppressants finally falter. Not now. My breath stutters. My fingers tremble faintly as I lower the pen. Kale notices immediately. His hand hovers close, ready to steady me if I fall. Your Highness, he murmurs. I swallow hard. I'm all right. But my voice betrays me. Too soft. Too unsteady. A ripple of scent slips free before I can stop it. Subtle. Faint. But unmistakably omega. Kale freezes. His pupils dilate sharply. His body stills like a predator catching a dangerous signal. His eyes lock onto me. Shock. Confusion. Recognition. Time seems to slow painfully. He knows. Panic crashes through me violently. My instincts scream to retreat. To hide. To protect myself. I step back instinctively. Too fast. Too afraid. Kale's hand grips my wrist gently but firmly. Not restraining. Anchoring. Come with me, he says quietly, voice low and controlled. He doesn't wait for permission. He guides me swiftly through a side corridor before anyone notices. The door closes behind us. Silence swallows the space. My heart hammers violently against my ribs. I can barely breathe. Kale stares at me like he's seeing a different person entirely. His grip loosens slightly. Explain, he says softly. Not angry. Not accusing. Just stunned. My throat tightens painfully. The truth trembles on my lips. My mask cracks. Tears burn behind my eyes. I didn't mean for you to find out like this, I whisper. His eyes widen slowly. You're an omega? The word lands heavy. I nod shakily. Yes. The room feels unbearably quiet. His hand slips from my wrist. He steps back half a pace, not in disgust, but in shock. You were never the crown prince, he says slowly. My chest aches. No. Silence stretches between us like fragile glass. So the treaty, his voice tightens slightly. It was real, I rushed to say. The piece is real. I swear. I never intended to hurt anyone. His gaze searches my face deeply. Not for lies. For truth. For understanding. For the person he thought he knew. My voice breaks. I didn't choose this. I was forced. If I refused, war would have destroyed both packs. Emotion swells dangerously in my chest. I never meant to let you get close, I whisper. I never meant to fall. I stop myself too late. The confession hangs between us. Unavoidable. His eyes soften and harden, all at once. Conflict flashes across his face. Pain. Betrayal. Confusion. And something deeper I can't yet name. He exhales slowly. This changes everything, he murmurs. My heart cracks painfully. I nod. I know. Outside the chamber, celebration continues. Inside this quiet room, everything has shifted. Nothing will ever be the same again. Chapter 13, After the Truth Broke Us. The silence between us feels heavier than any scream. Cale stands a few steps away from me, arms slowly folding across his chest, not defensive, but restrained, as if holding himself together. I can barely meet his eyes. My heart pounds so loudly I'm certain he can hear it. I should report this, he says quietly. The words slice through me. I flinch before I can stop myself. I understand, I whisper. And I do. Truly. What I've done is treason in any normal world. Impersonating royalty. Deceiving an entire kingdom. Manipulating political trust. Even if I was forced. Even if I was trying to prevent war. It doesn't erase the lie. Cale studies my face again. Not as a prince. Not as a symbol. As a person. An exposed, trembling Omega standing in borrowed power. You were terrified that night in the storage chamber, he says slowly. That wasn't an alpha reaction. My fingers curl into my sleeves. I tried to hide it. You weren't acting, he continues. You were surviving. His voice softens unconsciously. And that softness almost breaks me. I never wanted to deceive you, I say quietly. You were just supposed to be my shield. Not my heart. The honesty hurts. His jaw tightens. Then why didn't you push me away? Because I couldn't. Because you made me feel safe. Because you made me feel seen even while hiding. I don't say any of it. Instead, tears finally slide down my cheeks. I'm sorry, I whisper. The apology carries everything I cannot explain. Cale looks away briefly, breathing slowly, steadying himself. When he looks back, his eyes are darker, not angry, but wounded. You let me care about someone who didn't exist, he says. The words hurt because they're true. I existed, I say softly. Just, not the way you believed. Silence settles again. Fragile. Uncertain. Outside, distant laughter floats faintly through the walls, a cruel reminder that the world thinks everything is perfect. Cale finally speaks again. What happens now? My throat tightens. The real crown prince will return publicly within days, I say. My existence will disappear. I'll be relocated quietly. Hidden. Erased. Safe, but alone. His eyes sharpen slightly. They're just going to bury you after using you. They're keeping me alive, I say gently. That's more than most pawns receive. The bitterness surprises even me. He steps closer suddenly. You're not a pawn. The intensity in his voice makes my breath hitch. You stopped a war, he continues. You carried an impossible role. You protected thousands of lives. His words land warm and painful at the same time. You shouldn't disappear for that. My chest tightens dangerously. Cale. His expression softens again. I don't know how to untangle what I feel, he admits quietly. Part of me feels betrayed. Part of me feels protective. And part of me. He stops. Swallows. Doesn't want to let you go. My heart stumbles violently. Hope flickers dangerously inside me. Then fear crushes it. You deserve honesty, I whisper. A real alpha. A real future. Not a lie that almost destroyed you. His gaze locks onto mine. What if the truth doesn't erase what we built? The question terrifies me. Because I don't know the answer. A knock suddenly sounds at the door. Sharp. Urgent. A guard's voice echoes faintly from the corridor. Commander Kale, the council requests your presence immediately. Kale exhales slowly. Duty pulls him back into the world. He looks at me one last time before turning toward the door. This conversation isn't finished, he says quietly. The door opens. He steps out. And suddenly I am alone again. I sink onto the bench, my knees weak. My heart aches with too many emotions tangled together. Hope. Fear. Love. Loss. Uncertainty. The truth didn't free me. It fractured everything. And now I don't know whether what remains will heal. Or shatter completely. Chapter 14, The Choice That Could Change Everything. I don't leave that room for a long time. The bench beneath me feels cold. Unforgiving. My ceremonial coat weighs heavier now that the crown is gone from my head and the lie has slipped from my shoulders. For the first time in months. I am just me again. An Omega. Unprotected by titles. Unhidden by masks. And painfully exposed. Footsteps eventually approach the door. I tense instinctively. The door opens slowly. Not guards. Not officials. Kale. His expression is unreadable. Controlled. Carefully restrained. You should come with me, he says quietly. My pulse spikes. Am I being detained? He shakes his head. No. You're being protected. Relief and fear collide inside my chest. I rise slowly and follow him through a lesser-used corridor. The palace feels different now, less hostile, less ceremonial, more real. We descend into a quieter wing of the fortress, away from diplomats and council chambers. He opens a door to a small private room furnished simply, table, chairs, soft lamplight. Safe. Isolated. He gestures for me to sit. I obey. He remains standing for a moment before finally sitting across from me. The silence stretches thick again. The council is divided, he begins slowly. Some want your identity buried quietly. Some want you interrogated publicly. My stomach tightens. Public exposure would destabilize the treaty, I say carefully. I told them that, he replies. A flicker of gratitude passes through me. They agreed to postpone any decision until tomorrow, he continues. Which means, tonight matters. My heart skips nervously. In what way? He leans forward slightly. Because you still have a choice. I stare at him. I don't understand. He exhales slowly. They can erase you, relocate you, silence your existence, lock you into permanent anonymity. My chest tightens. Or, his gaze sharpens. You can step forward publicly and tell your story. Admit the truth. Own what you did and why. Fear surges instantly. They'll destroy me. Not necessarily, he counters. The treaty is signed. The peace is fragile but real. The public already views the crown prince as a symbol of that peace. If they learn the truth, that an Omega risked everything to stop war, public sentiment could protect you. The idea feels terrifying. Hopeful. Impossible. Your life would change forever, he adds. You'd be visible. Vulnerable. Scrutinized. I swallow hard. And if I stay hidden? You'll be safe, he admits. But erased. The word echoes painfully. Erased. Silence stretches between us. The weight of the choice presses heavily on my lungs. Then Cale speaks quietly. There's something else. I look up. If you step forward publicly, he says carefully, I can stand beside you. Openly. Protectively. As myself, not just as your assigned shield. My breath catches sharply. And if I disappear? I whisper. His jaw tightens. Then I'll respect your choice, he says. Even if it hurts. The honesty stings. I close my eyes briefly. Images flood my mind. A quiet hidden life in safety but loneliness. A public life in danger but truth. A heart that wants to stay with him. A fear that wants to hide forever. I open my eyes again. Why are you offering this? I ask softly. His voice lowers. Because you deserve agency. Because you deserve to exist as who you truly are. And because. He hesitates. I don't want to lose you to silence. My chest tightens painfully. The decision sits heavy between us. Whatever I choose will reshape everything. Not just my future. His too. Chapter 15, Standing in the Light. I don't answer him immediately. The room feels too small for the weight of the decision pressing against my ribs. My fingers curl into the fabric of my sleeves as if anchoring myself to something real. Hidden or seen. Safe or free. Alone or brave. My entire life, I've survived by shrinking. By staying quiet. By staying small. By staying unnoticed. Even when I wore a crown, I was still hiding. I lift my eyes slowly. I don't want to disappear, I say quietly. Cale's breath stills. I'm tired of pretending I don't exist. Something softens in his expression, relief, pride, something dangerously close to admiration. Then we'll do this together, he says firmly. Fear trembles through me. But so does resolve. The announcement is scheduled for dawn. Not a grand public spectacle, controlled, strategic, honest. A joint council statement. Witnesses. Press scribes. Guards positioned discreetly. Enough transparency to build trust. Enough structure to maintain safety. I barely sleep. My mind races endlessly. What if they hate me? What if they punish me? What if I lose everything anyway? And beneath all that fear, what if I finally become real? Morning light spills pale and gold across the council chamber. The room hums with quiet tension. Council members sit in solemn rows. Guards line the walls. Scribes prepare ink and parchment. Cale stands beside me. Not behind. Not distant. Beside. His presence grounds me. I step forward. My heart pounds violently. My voice trembles for only a fraction of a second before steadying. I was not born a crown prince. The room stills instantly. I am an Omega, I continue quietly. Chosen under coercion to impersonate the prince to prevent war between our packs. Murmurs ripple across the chamber. I hold my ground. I accepted because thousands of lives were at stake. I trained. I endured. I lied. Not for power. Not for status. But for peace. My throat tightens. I know deception carries consequences. I am prepared to accept them. But the treaty you celebrate today is real. The peace is real. And it exists because an ordinary person chose to stand in danger rather than allow bloodshed. Silence hangs heavy. Then questions erupt. Anger. Suspicion. Shock. Debate. Cale steps forward calmly. He speaks with authority, clarity, unwavering conviction. He validates the treaty. He confirms the coercion. He confirms the integrity of the mission. He confirms my courage. Public sentiment begins shifting. Not immediately, but steadily. Curiosity replaces outrage. Respect replaces suspicion. Understanding begins replacing fear. The council adjourns for deliberation. My legs tremble slightly as the adrenaline fades. Cale gently steadies me by the elbow. You did well, he murmurs. Emotion swells painfully in my chest. I was terrified. I know. But you stood anyway. I meet his eyes. So much unsaid lives there. Gratitude. Trust. Something warmer. Something hopeful. Later that afternoon, the official decision arrives. I am granted legal protection, freedom of identity, and permanent status as a diplomatic envoy under neutral protection. Not erased. Not imprisoned. Recognized. Alive. Real. I exhale shakily when the words sink in. My life is mine. That evening, Cale finds me alone in the garden. Lantern light glows softly against flowering vines. The air feels gentle. Peaceful. He approaches slowly. You're officially impossible to ignore now, he says lightly. I smile faintly. I think I prefer that. Silence settles comfortably between us. He hesitates. Then speaks quietly. There's one more thing I need to ask. My heart stutters. Yes? He meets my gaze steadily. Now that you're free, who do you want to be? The question is simple. The answer is not. But one truth rises clearly above the rest. I look at him. I want to be someone who chooses honestly. His expression softens. And what does your honesty say right now? My breath catches. That I care about you. The words land gently between us. Not dramatic. Not rushed. Just true. His eyes darken slightly with emotion. I care about you too, he says quietly. The admission feels like sunrise breaking through a long storm. Warm. Hopeful. Real. For the first time. I am not hiding. I am not pretending. I am standing fully in the light. And I am not alone.